All right, let's get right into it. It's that time of year. We all look back, we run the numbers, we tally up the wins. But what if we've been measuring the wrong thing all along? What if the real question isn't just about how much income you made, but about what you've actually built? Look, we all get a rush from seeing those charts go up and to the right. It feels great, it feels like winning. But sometimes that feeling can hide a much deeper truth. When we're so focused on the daily grind, it's easy to lose sight of the long-term value we're either creating or, totally ignoring. And that really brings us to the core question, doesn't it? After all the hustle, the long nights, the closed deals, have you created a valuable, standalone asset? Or have you just built yourself a really demanding, maybe high paying, but still just a job? Seriously, the answer to that question changes everything. So, to figure this out, we really need to get clear on two ideas that are often confused, but are actually two completely different paths. We're talking about the path of self-employment versus the path of building real enterprise value. First up, self-employment. This is the default mode for so many of us high achievers. And the model is pretty straightforward, right? Your personal effort, your hustle, turns directly into income. It's a one-to-one conversion. But the catch is, if you stop working, the income stops. Your value is completely tied to your personal life. Now, on the flip side, you've got enterprise value. This is a whole different ballgame. This is the value of your business as its own thing, totally separate from your day-to-day work. The best way to think about it is, what would someone else pay for your business if you were to walk away tomorrow? Does it still run? Does it still make money? That's its enterprise value. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. Self-employment is all about turning your effort, which is finite, into immediate income. Building enterprise value, though, that's about pouring your effort into creating systems. And those systems are what create compounding long-term value. See the difference? One path consumes your effort, the other leverages it. So let's break this down. What do these two models actually look like day to day? How do you know which one you're really running? Let's put them right next to each other and see how they stack up. Okay, this table is so important. On one side, you've got the production model. Here, your entire focus is on maximizing your own personal activity. The reward, direct compensation from those transactions. But the problem is your growth is capped. There are only so many hours in a day you can work, right? The mindset is all about this quarter's income. But now, look at the ownership model. The focus shifts completely to creating transferable assets. The reward isn't just a commission check, it's equity that can grow and compound all on its own. This model is literally built to scale beyond you, and that requires a totally different mindset, one focused on long-term, multi-year results. So, maybe you're looking at this and thinking, okay, yep, I want to build an asset. I love that. But it doesn't just happen because you want it to. You've got to have a blueprint, a plan. So let's talk about the key parts of that structure. These are basically the four pillars. First, you have to systematize your operations. Create a playbook that anyone can run, not just you. Second, you got to develop leadership depth. Build a team that can run the show without you having to be there. Third, invest in technology that scales, tools that work whether you're there or not. And finally, and this might be the biggest one, you have to build a brand that's bigger than just your own name. But, and this is a big but, here's the catch, this doesn't come for free. To build a real asset, you almost always have to sacrifice some of today's profit. You have to be willing to invest that money back into your systems, your team, your brand. It's a very real trade-off, short-term cash for long-term compounding equity. Okay, so why are we talking about this with such urgency? Because right now in today's market, this distinction between income and asset is more critical than it has ever been. The whole landscape is shifting, and it's starting to expose the cracks in the old ways of doing things. We're all feeling this, right? The market is all over the place, profit margins are getting squeezed tighter and tighter, and big players are gobbling up smaller ones. These kinds of pressures absolutely crush businesses that depend on the constant hustle of just one person. And that is precisely why this matters so much. Businesses that are built as assets with real transferable value, they're just more durable. They have the structure to adapt when things get weird, they have the value to sell if the right opportunity comes along, and they have the foundation to just endure. They have options, and having options is the real prize. So all of this brings the spotlight right back to you. Now that you see the two paths so clearly, the real question is, what are you going to intentionally build? Because it really is a choice. I think this quote from Nick Schleckaway just nails it. There is nothing wrong with self-employment. It can be an incredibly rewarding path, but we have to be honest with ourselves and not mistake it for building an asset. They're just two different games with two totally different sets of rules.
And that's really the point of this whole conversation. This is not about judging one path as good and the other as bad. Not at all. The goal here is clarity. It's about empowering you to look at your own business, to understand which path you're really on, and to be crystal clear about the trade-offs you're making every single day. So, as we wrap up, whether you're all in on building a massive income or you're focused on that compounding asset, the final question you've got to ask yourself is this. Once you know what you truly want to build, what are you willing to trade to make it happen?